I believed, and therefore have I spoken. Declare, and it is done. You are not just thinking, you are commanding. You are not just hoping, you are declaring. And every time you speak from truth, the universe listens. The word is not just what you speak, it's who you become. Before the world was shaped by hands, it was shaped by voice. Before creation took form, a declaration was made. Let there be. And there was. In the beginning was the word, not a sound, but a force, not a phrase, but a frequency, a vibration so pure that it carved galaxies into the void. And that same creative force now lives within you. Every time you say, I am, you are not describing your life. You are directing it. You are not just speaking. You are instructing your cells, your brain, your spirit, and the quantum field around you to shape themselves into the image of your words. This is the power that moved mountains in Scripture, the principle behind miracles, the voice that made worlds, and still does. Modern science calls it neuroplasticity. Quantum theory calls it wave collapse. The mystics called it divine law. But you already know it intuitively. You feel it in your bones when you speak from truth. You feel it when you say, I can, and something stirs. You feel it when you say, I am, and the universe leans in to respond. This audiobook is not just about positive thinking. It's about positional identity, who you choose to be, with your voice, your posture, your thoughts, your frequency. You will not be asked to beg. You will be asked to remember that you are not waiting for change. You are the change. And when you declare from that place of knowing, it is done. So breathe, open, and step back into authorship. The voice that made the stars now speaks through you. Let us begin. Chapter 1. The first word shapes the world. Before you see it, before you hold it, before it becomes form, you must speak. There's a moment before creation, a pause before the visible, and in that pause, a voice rises. Yours. Not from your throat, but from your identity. From a knowing too deep to explain. It declares, this is who I am. And the world responds. Every reality begins with a word. You were not born into stillness. You were born into sound, heartbeat, cry, breath, word. Creation begins not with effort, but with frequency. In Genesis, the Creator doesn't build with hands. He says, let there be, and light obeys. Physics now tells us the same. All matter arises from energy, and energy responds to observation and vibration. So when you say, I am ready, I am whole, it is done. You're not hoping, you're instructing. The science of speech as creation. Your brain is not a passive organ. It is an architect. It listens carefully to every word you say, especially when you speak about yourself. Neuroscientists call this the power of neuroplasticity. Your brain wires itself according to repeated thoughts, declarations, and beliefs. And every time you say, I am, you lay down a new layer of identity in your nervous system. Say, I am overwhelmed, and the stress circuits deepen. Say, I am learning, and curiosity pathways awaken. Say, I am capable, and your prefrontal cortex begins mapping new behavior. The body doesn't wait for proof, it responds to instruction. Identity as recovery. In a 2014 study on stroke rehabilitation, patients who repeated empowering identity statements like, I am healing, I am getting stronger, showed faster neurological recovery than those who simply focused on tasks. Their inner language restructured their outer healing, not because the words had magic, but because identity shapes biology. You've been declaring all along, Every day, you're already saying, I'm tired. I never figure things out. This always happens to me. And your subconscious takes it literally. It doesn't analyze tone. It doesn't ask questions. It simply hears, got it. You are that. I'll make sure reality reflects it. So the loop begins. A phrase becomes a feeling. A feeling becomes a filter. A filter becomes a world. You think you're describing life, but you're actually designing it. Final reflection. Speak as the beginning. You are not here to repeat what is. You are here to name what will be. So speak. But don't speak as the one who's waiting. Speak as the one who is choosing. I am the one who builds worlds with words. I am not becoming. I am revealing. Declare and it is done, because I have become the one who declares. This is the first truth. This is the first step. Let's go deeper. Chapter 2. The law behind the voice. Not effort, not wishing, but energetic alignment backed by biology. You were told to work harder, to strive, hustle, and grind. But no one told you that reality doesn't respond to effort. It responds to identity in motion. You are not here to earn your future. You are here to declare it. And there is a law behind that declaration. One that operates in silence, whether you know it or not. The law of assumption, retold in science. Neville Goddard called it the law of assumption. Assume it is done, and it becomes. But what does that mean in the language of modern mind and matter? It means that what you believe to be true about yourself begins to train your nervous system, your perception, and your body to mirror that identity. Your reticular activating system, RAS, the brain's filter for attention, looks for proof of your inner assumptions. Say, I am unlucky, and the RAS finds every reason to agree. Say, I am favored, and the field begins to echo that frequency. You're not observing reality. You're filtering it according to your declarations. The student who declared her genius. A young girl in a disadvantaged school system struggled for years, until one day a teacher told her, "You're a genius. You just haven't been taught like one." That simple declaration, spoken daily, "I am a genius, I just learned differently," rewired her identity. Her test scores improved. But more than that, her self-perception shifted. Today she's an educator herself, helping other kids do the same. What changed? Her belief, her biology, her future, all from a new I am. Why empty affirmations fail? Many people repeat, "I am rich, I am confident," but their tone vibrates with doubt. They're performing, not aligning. The subconscious mind picks up on this. It listens to emotion, not grammar, to coherence, not cleverness. That's why declarations without feeling are flat. But declarations fused with elevated emotion trigger a powerful response. Dr. Joe Dispenza puts it this way: when thought and feeling become one, you move from hope into reality creation. Your voice as neurochemical signal. When you declare, "I am abundant," and you feel abundant, you release dopamine, a motivational neurotransmitter. When you say, "I am at peace," you stimulate oxytocin, calming the nervous system and opening connection. You are not just affirming, you are literally altering the chemical signature of your state. This is why your life changes, not when you do more, but when you speak from who you've become. The universe doesn't need convincing. You don't have to argue with the field. You only have to declare clearly from the inside out, "I am already what I seek." I am walking as the version who has it. It is done not because I forced it, but because I aligned with it. Final reflection. Declare as instruction. Think of your words like keys, not poetic, mechanical. Each one either unlocks a new version of you or keeps you chained to the old. So speak not as the one who's trying. Speak as the one who knows. Because the law behind the voice doesn't check credentials. It doesn't tally effort. It listens for vibration. And once your vibration is fused with identity, declare, and it is done. Chapter 3. The voice that shapes matter. How vibration, biology, and intention weave invisible words into physical form. Your voice is not small. It is not mere sound. It is structure. What you speak into the unseen becomes architecture, a scaffold of possibility, a framework the world begins to build around. Words are not just air. They are instruction. Each time you speak with conviction, you emit a frequency. And frequency, as both mystics and physicists know, shapes matter. The ancient echo of the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, is more than Scripture. It's science written in sacred language, because in the beginning of any reality, a business, a relationship, a healing, there is always a word, not just spoken aloud, but whispered internally with enough belief to command the field. The quantum field doesn't hear English. It hears coherence. It doesn't wait for results. It responds to vibration. Sound and matter. Cymatics. In 1967, Swiss scientist Hans Jenny conducted a series of experiments that stunned the scientific world. Using sound vibrations directed at a thin plate covered with fine sand, he observed how different tones and frequencies created intricate geometric patterns. The implications were profound. Sound, invisible and ethereal, was shaping matter into order. The higher the coherence of the tone, the more beautiful and complex the pattern. You are no different. Your internal tone, the energy behind your words, determines what kind of pattern your life forms. Anger scrambles the geometry. Worry distorts it. But declaration spoken from stillness, from power, creates sacred symmetry in your field. From sound to cell, the biology of language. Dr. Candace Pert, a neuroscientist and pharmacologist, discovered what she called the molecules of emotion. She found that peptides, the chemical messengers triggered by thought and speech, bind to receptors on every cell in your body. In simple terms, what you say, your body hears. Every I am becomes a signal that instructs your biology. Say, I am overwhelmed, and cortisol floods your system. Say, I am grounded, and parasympathetic signals begin to calm your heart rate. This is not symbolic. This is biochemical manifestation. You are not just thinking. You are programming. You are not just talking. You are transmitting. Quantum reality and the collapsing wave. In quantum physics, particles exist in a cloud of probabilities until observed. This is called the wave function. It means that at every moment, infinite versions of your life exist, each one waiting to be selected. So what selects it? Conscious observation fused with intention. When you say, I am this, you collapse potential into particular. You shift from all that could be into this is what I've chosen. Your words are the selector switch in a field of infinite outcomes. From diagnosis to declaration. Consider the case of Anita Morjani, diagnosed with end-stage lymphoma, tumors throughout her body. Her organs were shutting down. Doctors declared the end. She, however, declared something else, not with logic, but with identity. I am not here to die. I am here to live. She entered a near-death experience where she felt herself as wholeness, not illness. Upon returning, her body began healing. Fast, Her scans shocked her doctors. No trace of cancer remained within weeks. Skeptics call it impossible. But her declaration, backed by full coherence of mind, emotion, and soul, became her reality. What you declare, you animate. Declare, I am love. And your nervous system begins to soften. Your energy field becomes magnetic. Declare, I am abundance. And your perception starts scanning for opportunity. Synchronicity sharpens. Declare, I am peace. And the chaos around you starts to lose its grip. You are not waiting for reality to show up so you can name it. You are naming it so it shows up. This is how you shape matter. This is how you bend time. Not with effort, but with energetic authorship, the ritual of declaring. What if each morning became a sacred rite? You wake, you breathe, you speak, I am the frequency of clarity. I am in harmony with what is mine. I am living the timeline I used to dream about. You don't have to see it yet. You don't have to earn it. You only have to tune to it. Like a song already playing in the quantum airwaves. You just match its key. And when you match it, you hear it. And when you hear it, you live it. Final reflection. Speak as the sculptor. You are not a beggar in the temple of the universe. You are the voice of it. You don't shape reality through repetition alone. You shape it through resonant identity. A frequency felt deep in your spine when you say, let every word become a brushstroke. Let every phrase become stone beneath your feet. Let every declaration become a sculpture. And let that sculpture be you. Declare, speak, shape, and it shall be. Chapter 4. Becoming the word you speak. It is not enough to declare. You must become what you've spoken. Words are seeds. Powerful, yes. But a seed does nothing unless it is watered, nurtured, lived. Too many speak powerfully, then walk timidly. They declare abundance and act from fear. They affirm love, but move from wounds. And so, the field grows confused, the signal splits, and nothing changes. Because declaration is the first step. Embodiment is the second. To become the word you speak is to make your identity louder than your past, louder than your habits, louder than your history. Why identity always wins? In psychology, there's a simple truth. You will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. This is called self-concept congruence. It means that your behavior, whether successful or self-sabotaging, mirrors your internal identity more than your external intention. You can want change. You can declare change. But until you become the person who lives in that new world, the old self pulls you back. This is not resistance. It's programming. And it can be rewritten. The identity of the non-smoker. Researchers studying addiction recovery found a striking difference between two groups. When offered a cigarette, one group said, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The other said, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Guess who had a significantly lower relapse rate? The ones who shifted identity, not just behavior. They weren't performing willpower. They were embodying a new version of themselves. Because the subconscious doesn't sustain what isn't aligned. You can push against the old, or you can become the new. From affirmation to embodiment. Here's where most manifestation practices stop. I am successful. I am loved. I am confident. Beautiful words. But what do your feet say? What does your posture declare? How do your choices speak? Embodiment is not performance. It's not pretending to be something you're not. It's allowing yourself to live as the version you've already declared. Daily embodiment ritual, the as-if protocol. Ask yourself each morning, If I truly believed my declaration, how would I move today? How would I walk if I believed I was magnetic? How would I respond to conflict if I knew I was already safe? What would I say yes to or no to if I knew I was already supported? This is not acting. It's returning to a truer self, hidden beneath conditioning. Neural reinforcement through behavior. Each time you take an action that matches your new identity, you strengthen neural pathways in your brain. This is known as Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Declare, I am confident, and speak up in the meeting. Your brain logs that as proof. Do it again, and the network deepens. Do it daily, and it becomes your default. Soon, the old identity begins to dissolve, not through force, but through starvation. You've stopped feeding it, and you've started living the new. Mirror neurons and emotional embodiment. Your brain is also equipped with mirror neurons, cells that fire both when you act and when you imagine yourself acting. This means when you visualize yourself walking as the new version, your brain responds as if it's already happening. So when you say, I am abundant, and close your eyes to feel the reality of that abundance, you are not fantasizing. You are training your neurology. The body begins to behave like abundance is real. And then, reality follows suit. Real-world transformation. The embodied future self. In a longitudinal study on goal setting, participants were asked to write down their ideal future selves. One group wrote once. The other group lived as that version daily, walking, dressing, and making choices like their future self already existed. 12 months later, the second group had significantly higher measurable success, income, health, happiness. Why? Because they weren't trying to get there. They were being there. Your body doesn't care if it's memory or imagination. It becomes whatever you rehearse with feeling. Final reflection. Act as law. Let your declarations walk with you. Let your voice echo in your choices. And let your life become the physical evidence of the words you once whispered into the unseen. You don't attract what you say. You attract what you embody. And when your identity, energy, and actions all say the same thing, reality bends. Time folds. And the version of you you once hoped to become becomes the only one you know. Declare it. Become it. And it is done. Chapter 5. The gap between speaking and seeing. There is a space between the word and the world, and it's where most people lose the miracle. You said it. You meant it. You felt it. I am healed. I am abundant. I am ready. And then, nothing. No signs. No evidence. Just silence. This is the space where dreams die. Not because the law failed, but because the voice wavered. But the gap is not punishment. It is preparation. Not delay, but integration. Because every declaration is a seed. And every seed, no matter how divine, needs time to take root. The void is the womb. In every mystical tradition, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, Buddhism, there is reverence for the void, that sacred in-between, the formless, the field before the form. Creation is not instant, it is gestational. The same applies to your spoken reality. When you say, I am, you activate the field. But when you wait in stillness, you allow that field to organize itself around your identity. The silent activation of the brain. In neuroscience, change isn't visible the moment it begins. In fact, neural rewiring often happens below conscious awareness. In one UCLA study on habit change, participants showed increased neural activity in the basal ganglia weeks before they felt their behavior shift. They hadn't noticed anything working, But deep beneath the surface, their brain had already begun its transformation. This is the unseen miracle. Silence does not mean absence. Stillness does not mean stuck. It means integration is underway. Why most people sabotage in the gap? The moment doubt creeps in, most people panic. They redeclare from fear. They push. They try to fix what's already in motion. But this tells the subconscious, I don't believe what I just said. We are not safe to receive. And so, the identity resets. The timeline shifts. The process pauses, not because it failed, but because you interrupted the signal. Trust as a biological state. Faith is not just spiritual. It is neurological regulation. When you trust your declaration, your nervous system relaxes. Cortisol drops. The parasympathetic system activates, signaling safety. In this state, the body becomes more receptive. The mind becomes more intuitive. You are not just believing, you are becoming available. The more you hold the vibration of certainty, the more coherent your electromagnetic field becomes. And the more precisely the universe mirrors it. Philosophical integration. Lao Tzu and the power of non-doing. The Tao Te Ching teaches, do nothing, and yet nothing is left undone. This is not laziness. It's energetic alignment. It means once you've spoken your truth, you release it, you live it, and you trust the universe to echo it in perfect rhythm. The effort is not in chasing the outcome. The effort is in remaining still enough not to contradict what you already declared. Practice. Holding the frequency. To stay anchored during the gap. Visualize the root, not the bloom. Close your eyes and see the roots forming, even if the flower isn't visible. Affirm, my identity is shifting beneath the surface. Journal as the one who already is. Write daily as if it's already true. Example, today I moved like someone who is already supported. Use breath to anchor belief. Inhale your declaration. Exhale the urge to control. Refuse to dig up the seed. Remind yourself, it is not my job to force growth. It is my job to sustain belief. The silence is the response. There is a moment after the sacred words are spoken when the only thing left to do is trust. This is not passive waiting. It is active alignment. You've already declared. You've already aligned. Now, let it echo. Don't fill the silence with fear. Let the silence fill you with faith. Because the gap between speaking and seeing is not a void to fear. It is the exact space where reality catches up to the version of you who finally knew what to say. Speak it. Wait for it. Become it. And let the world rise to meet you. Chapter 6. Echoes and Evidence. Reading the signs of alignment. The universe doesn't speak in sentences. It speaks in symbols, nudges, and mirrored emotions. You declared it. You've been walking in it. Still, the mind whispers, but where is it? How do I know it's working? Not because you doubt the law, but because you were trained to trust only what the eyes can see. But manifestation doesn't begin in full bloom. It begins in echoes, subtle shifts, little winks from the field that say, yes, keep going. To recognize these signs, you must become fluent in the language of resonance. Not English, not logic, but energetic reflection. The law of resonance, not reward. The universe does not reward effort. It reflects frequency. This means that signs of alignment are not proof you've earned it. They're indications that your signal has become clear. Think of a radio. You tune the dial until the static fades. The song doesn't appear because you tried hard enough. It appears because you matched the station. So too with reality. The signs show up when your identity is aligned, not desperate. The impossible call, a woman had declared. I am a speaker. I am meant to share my voice. For months, there was no invitation, no stage, no proof. But she stayed in alignment, journaling, visualizing, walking with purpose. Then one day, she received a call. A cancellation opened up a spot at a major summit. She hadn't applied. She had simply become the version who would be invited. The call was not luck. It was echo. Echoes aren't always obvious. Not every sign arrives with fireworks. Often it's subtle. A person you haven't seen in years suddenly appears. A random quote mirrors your last journal entry. You hear your own affirmation spoken back to you by a stranger. A sense of peace replaces the old anxiety. These are not coincidences. They are feedback loops. As philosopher Carl Jung said, synchronicity is an ever-present reality for those who have eyes to see. Neuroscience of pattern recognition. Why signs appear. Your reticular activating system, RAS, once programmed by your I am statements, begins scanning reality for matches. You say, I am abundant. Now your RAS filters out what doesn't match and zeroes in on anything that supports that belief. An opportunity, a compliment, a resource. What you previously ignored now becomes visible. You didn't change the world. You changed your lens. This is called cognitive priming, and it's why signs often feel like magic. In truth, you've simply told your brain what matters. How to notice the signs. End your day with evidence. Ask, what showed up today that aligned with who I've been becoming? Look for tone, not volume. A soft nudge is still a sign. Gratitude as signal amplification. Every time you thank the field, even for a small sign, you reinforce belief. This increases emotional coherence and amplifies attraction. Symbol tracking. If a number, animal, or phrase repeats, don't dismiss it. Ask, what was I thinking when this appeared? Often, the sign mirrors your inner state. Philosophical lens. The mirror principle. Neville Goddard said, the world is a mirror, forever reflecting what you are doing within yourself. This means you must observe life not as a punishment or a blessing, but as a response. You do not receive signs because the universe favors you. You receive them because you've tuned into a version of yourself that is now impossible to ignore. So if the signs are scarce, check the signal, not the system. Final reflection. Don't beg for signs. Become one. The ultimate alignment is this. You stop needing signs because your life becomes the sign. Your posture radiates certainty. Your energy shifts rooms. Your presence reflects your declaration before your mouth opens. The bird song you noticed? Echo. The unexpected invitation? Echo. The peace you feel in the chaos? Echo. You are not waiting. You are vibrating. And the field is listening. Keep declaring. Keep becoming. And listen for the subtle applause of a universe rearranging itself around your voice. Because you spoke, you believed, you embodied, and now the echoes have begun. Chapter 7. Undoing the unconscious. I am before you can speak a new world into existence. You must unhook from the words that built the old one. There are declarations you speak consciously. I am ready. I am strong. I am enough. And then there are declarations you never meant to speak. They were whispered to you as a child, inherited through silence, imprinted by repetition, passed down not just through language, but through tone, emotion, and energy. I am a burden. I am too much. I am not smart enough. I am invisible. You never asked to believe them, but they became your truth. This is the realm of the unconscious I am, and it shapes far more than your affirmations ever will. Your subconscious is always listening. The subconscious doesn't operate on logic. It functions through pattern, rhythm, and repetition. By age 7, most of your identity has already been written, not by who you truly are, but by what you were told you were. In neuroscience, this is known as early imprinting. Your developing brain absorbs emotional tone as truth, not because it's accurate, but because it's familiar. So the child who is shamed for asking questions declares, "I am annoying." The teen ignored in moments of pain declares, "I am not worth listening to." And these silent declarations become the foundation of every adult decision that follows. The inherited I am. A man in his 40s constantly sabotaged relationships, not because he wanted to, but because they triggered something deeper. Through therapy and self-inquiry, he discovered a core belief: I am not lovable. It wasn't spoken directly. It was embedded in his father's absence, his mother's depression, the lack of eye contact, the constant emotional withdrawal. He wasn't trying to fail. He was just repeating an unconscious contract. Once he unearthed the false declaration, he began rewriting it, not with force, with awareness. I am learning to receive love. I am not broken. I was conditioned. I am safe to be seen. Over time, his relationships transformed. Not because he found someone new, but because he became someone new. Breaking the loop, from reaction to revelation. Your old declarations don't need to be destroyed. They need to be re-examined. Ask, where did this belief begin? Whose voice is this really? What was the emotional message I absorbed, even if no words were said? Once identified, you reclaim authorship. Because here's the truth. You are not your programming. You are the one who can rewrite it. The science of rewriting belief repetition changes the brain, but awareness rewires the pattern. In neuroplasticity, conscious attention directed at an old neural loop weakens its influence. This is called cognitive disassociation. Example: you catch yourself thinking, "I'm just not good with money." Instead of ignoring it, you pause. You bring it into the light. You say, "That's an old belief. I remember where it came from, but I choose something new." Then you speak, "I am learning to trust money. I am becoming financially wise." And each time you declare the new identity, you build new neural pathways, new emotional resonance, new outcomes. You're not erasing the past. You're updating the system, rewriting the silent declarations, the echo exercise. Write down the negative I am statements you default to. For each one, ask, who did I hear this from? What experience planted it? The truth beneath. Flip the statement. Not to the perfect opposite, but to something believable and growing. Instead of, I am not enough, try, I am remembering that I've always been enough. Voice to body anchoring. Speak the new. I am allowed while placing a hand on your chest or belly. This anchors the new belief in your nervous system through touch and tone. Philosophical integration, Gnostic remembrance. Ancient Gnostic teaching spoke of a false self, a counterfeit identity formed by the world. Their message was not to fight the false self, but to remember the real one. You are not the illusion of the world. You are the spark of the divine, forgotten but not lost. Your unconscious I am may have been inherited, but your true I am is eternal. And every time you speak it, you remember who you were before the world told you otherwise. Final reflection. Rewrite yourself into truth. You don't need to hate your past self. You just need to understand her. You don't need to rage against the conditioning. You only need to see through it. Because now you know, you are the author. You are the rewriter. You are the living word. So speak softly to the old I am. Thank it for trying to protect you. And then, gently, declare something truer. I am not who they said I was. I am not who fear shaped me to be. I am who I decide, now, here, with clarity. And with that, the unconscious becomes conscious. The false dissolves. The real begins. Chapter 8. The Voice of the Body. When identity becomes chemistry, you may believe your declarations are only sound. But beneath every affirmation, your body is listening. Not metaphorically, biologically. The nervous system records your tone. Your hormones adjust to your language. Your immune system follows your beliefs. Because every I am is not just a thought. It is a chemical command. Your words don't live in the air. They live in your blood, in your muscle memory, in your breath. This is why identity is more than mental repetition. It is a full body signal. It is a living vibration. Your voice, your chemistry. Let's bring the science close. When you say, I am afraid, your brain doesn't evaluate whether it's true. It floods your body with cortisol, the stress hormone. Your heart rate increases. Your breathing becomes shallow. Your muscles tighten in anticipation of danger. Even if no danger exists, now say, I am safe. And your body begins to reverse the process. Oxytocin releases. The parasympathetic nervous system activates, initiating rest and restoration. The immune system strengthens. The mind clears. The difference wasn't a change in environment. It was a change in self-declaration. Emotions are chemistry in motion. Dr. Candace Pert, pioneer of the field of psychoneuroimmunology, discovered that emotions are not in your head. They are in your entire body. Your cells have receptors that absorb emotional peptides, chemical messengers released with every thought and spoken word. That means your body is responding to your I am statements before you're even fully conscious of what you said. You declare, I am anxious. Your body obeys, tightening, restricting, reacting. You declare, I am grounded. Your body opens. Even if your mind doesn't fully believe it yet, the chemistry begins shifting. And over time, that shift becomes your baseline. Reclaiming wholeness. Consider the story of a woman named Claire, diagnosed with chronic fatigue and anxiety. Doctors prescribed medication, but nothing changed. What began to shift things was an unusual prescription. A therapist invited her to speak new identity-based declarations every morning. I am restoring. I am vitality. I am safe in my body. She resisted at first. It felt fake. Her body didn't believe it. But with persistence, and paired with breath, movement, and intention, something shifted. Within 8 weeks, her energy returned. Sleep improved. Anxiety reduced. Not because the illness magically disappeared, but because her body began receiving a new message. She didn't just treat the symptoms. She changed the signal. Identity is a full-body practice. Your nervous system doesn't just listen to your words. It watches your posture. It feels your breath. It scans your tone. Say, I am confident, with slumped shoulders, downcast eyes, and tight breath. Your body will sense the contradiction and reject the command. But say it while standing tall, breathing deeply, and making eye contact. Your physiology receives it as truth. You are always broadcasting a frequency. The body's role is not to argue with you. Its role is to amplify what you declare. So the question becomes, what are you asking it to repeat? The power of repetitive embodiment. Repetition builds identity. In neuroscience, this is the principle of Hebbian learning. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Each time you declare, "I am enough," and match that statement with action, you build a neural imprint. Each repetition lays a stronger track, and eventually your default shifts from fear to trust, from shame to wholeness, from powerlessness to grounded command. Practices to anchor. Identity in the body, walk your words. Choose one. I am declaration each day. Speak it as you walk, step by step. Let your body feel it ripple through your movement. Mirror method. Look into your eyes. Say, slowly, "This is who I am now. I am becoming more whole each day." Repeat it with breath, posture, and emotion. Somatic journaling. Write an I am statement. Then scan your body. How does this feel in my chest? My gut? My breath? Let your body tell you where truth lives and where resistance hides. Touch plus tone. Integration. Place your hand on your heart, belly, or any tense area. Speak the new identity aloud while gently applying pressure. Let your words sink in through the body, not just the brain. Final reflection. You are not a floating mind. You are not a walking affirmation. You are a living resonance, a system of cells, thoughts, energy, and belief all working in concert. When your body, your voice, and your identity speak in unison, the world listens. Not because you shouted, but because you vibrated the truth clearly. So from this moment forward, speak not just from the mind, but from the gut, from the spine, from the heart, because your body has always been the loudest part of your voice. Chapter 9, and so it is. Living the frequency, not chasing the outcome. There is a moment when you no longer speak to convince. You no longer declare to get. You no longer affirm to attract. You speak because it is who you are. You live because it is already done. This is the frequency of "and so it is." Not a wish, not a performance, but a sacred surrender to the truth you've chosen and the self you've become. Wanting versus being. Most people speak from desire. They want more money. They want love. They want freedom. And yet, their energy says, "I'm not there yet. I hope this works. I need this to complete me." This creates a vibrational gap, a mismatch between the frequency of desire and the identity of fulfillment. Wanting says, "Maybe one day." Being says, "I already am." And the universe doesn't respond to wanting. It responds to vibrational certainty. Real life parallel. Becoming before, seeing Olympic athletes don't win gold because they train harder. They win because they train as the version of themselves who's already won. They don't say, "I hope to win." They say, "I am a champion, and I'm here to meet the moment." This is pre-living the result, not pretending, but rehearsing truth until it becomes embodied knowing. You must do the same. Declare it. Feel it. Walk in it before the world catches up. And when it does, it won't feel like a surprise. It will feel like recognition. The frequency of alreadiness. Alreadiness is a vibration. It's not arrogance. It's not delusion. It's resonance. When you carry yourself like someone who is already free, doors open. Not because you forced them, but because you aligned with the version of you that was always holding the key. You don't attract what you chase. You attract what you normalize. So make your future identity feel normal now. Speak as them. Decide as them. Move as them. And you'll collapse the timeline between vision and reality. Practice living and so it is. Pre-celebration ritual. Each morning, celebrate one thing you're manifesting, as if it has already happened. Say, "I am so grateful this already unfolded. It feels natural, and so it is." Anchor. Phrases. Throughout the day, Use simple anchor lines. I'm living the prayer I already spoke. I am inside the reality I asked for. And so it is. Inner peace. Test notice where you feel rushed, doubtful, or forceful. Pause. Ask, what would the version of me who already has this feel right now? Then shift into that frequency. Philosophical integration. The Tao of non-striving. Lao Tzu said, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. This is the vibration of, and so it is. It does not push. It does not plead. It simply unfolds. The seed does not strain to become the tree. It trusts the process written in its DNA. You are the same. The declaration is your seed. The embodiment is your watering. The stillness is your sunlight. And then, inevitably, the result emerges. Final reflection, you've declared. You've walked. You've remembered. Now let it unfold. You don't need to beg. You don't need to prove. You don't need to obsess over how or when. Your only job is to live the frequency you once longed for, as if it's already yours. Because it is. I am aligned. I am whole. I am now living what I spoke. And so it is. The echo after the word. The declaration has been spoken. The frequency has been tuned. And now there is only the echo. Not an echo that fades, but one that builds. A living ripple moving outward, touching the field, awakening the timeline that was waiting for you to say, I am this now. Because reality was never withholding. It was always responding. And the universe does not answer your wishes. It answers your identity. You began this journey with words, but it ends, not with more doing, but with being. You've remembered that your voice is more than sound. It's structure. That your thoughts are more than private noise. They are invitations. That your I am is not a hope. It's a blueprint, a signal to the quantum field, a command to your biology, and a return to your divine authorship. Now you know. You were never trying to become. You were only trying to remember. Remember the one who was always whole, who never needed fixing, only alignment, who didn't have to chase, only declare, and whose word, when spoken in truth, is already done. Let there be was never followed by doubt. It was followed by light. So speak and rest, affirm and walk, declare and become. Not because you're trying to convince the world, but because you finally convinced yourself. This is your life now, a quiet knowing, a powerful stillness, a voice that no longer begs, but creates. No more rehearsing the past, no more waiting for proof, no more shrinking to match your history. From this moment forward, you are the proof. You are the evidence of the unseen, the embodiment of what once lived only in thought, the prayer, the echo, the word made real. So close your eyes now, not to disconnect, but to tune deeper. Let the final words ring, not just in your ears, but in your blood, your bones, your field. Declare, and it is done. I am that I am. And so it is.